Hi everyone! So for my got privilege activity, it was both very interesting and really frustrating as I was trying to find each of the items on the shopping list. I did go to a couple different stores, but started off this activity at Target. I chose Target first because this is a store that a lot of people shop at. They offer a variety of different items and they frequently advertise for low prices, so I thought this would be perfect, especially for someone who is a single mother. But as I entered Target, I really tried to put myself in the shoes of a 34-year-old black woman who is bisexual and has a young child and who's recently divorced. At first, I really believed this is going to be the most difficult part of the activity because I have none of those characteristics, but I quickly found out it was much more difficult than this in itself. The first aisle that I went into was the makeup aisle. This Target had two full aisles of makeup, so I did not really know where to start. It was kind of as if I was purchasing makeup for the first time, to be quite honest. I entered into the first aisle and I really had to look closely at the shelves to find what I was looking for. Everything was very scattered depending on the brand, but once I found the product I was looking for, it was a little easier to find more of the darker colors. Every brand I saw offered a couple of different darker shades. However, some of the colors offered I felt as if they would not be the perfect match to a darker skinned woman. I really stood there for a couple of minutes just staring at different brands, some of the different products, because it was just so difficult. There was definitely much more to choose from if I was a white woman. They even had some of the powdered foundations and such that did not have any darker skin tone options at all. I didn't see any as I was walking up and down the aisle. However, all of the color options that I did find were mixed with the lighter tones. They were not separated or put on a different shelf entirely. They were overall pretty easy to find, but there were just not a ton of colors to choose from. Next, I went to find hair products. Again, this Target had two full aisles of hair products, but as I went up and down the first aisle, I did not see any products that pertained to a black woman. However, at the same time, I had really no idea what I was looking for or any brand names because I've never looked for them before. I took some of the knowledge of what I had seen previously in stores as well as what was talked about in class to find these products. I finally found a couple of different products after going completely down the next aisle, and it was towards the bottom of 2 or 3 shelves. These products were not mixed in with many of the popular brands that you might find to be on sale each week. There was not many options for the hair products at all, and they were priced higher than something that would normally be on sale. The next item I went to look for was the Band-Aids. All of the Band-Aids were in the same place, but I could not find any package that offered a color that resembled a darker skin tone. The only ones I found were clear, and there was a cartoon character with Doc McStuffins on another one. However, there were many options for white women and definitely different kinds that could be chosen from. When I went to look for stockings and pantyhose, I came across 3 different areas with these products. At first, I did not see any pantyhose that came in a darker tone. I really thought I was missing seeing this item, but after getting very frustrated, I continued to look again. However, same thing. I did not see a single color that I thought that could work. There were many different options for someone who is white, and this was very discouraging for me, especially because I looked so many times and I really thought there was going to be something there. Then I went to look for the book and doll for the 6-year-old child. I knew finding a doll would not be too difficult because I've previously seen in the past, but I was still unsure about the book because I've never really looked for this previous to this assignment. I went down a couple of different items that had dolls, and some of the collections did not even offer a black doll. They were all white. However, when I came across the Barbies, they did have a couple to choose from, but there were so many more white Barbies than black Barbies. Another collection that I did see had a couple of different black dolls with different clothing on each. However, again, there was much more of a variety for a doll that was white. As I looked for the book in the small section that Target does have, I could not find anything that could be relevant. There was not a single book with even one black character in it. There were so many options that had white characters in it, and again I kept looking and looking because I knew that there had to have been something, but I didn't find a single book. The next item I looked for was the romance novel. Again, Target does not have a huge book section, but it was very difficult to find a romance novel by a black author. I looked up and down the shelves and actually almost missed the book. I did find one book by Brenda Jackson, which was A Lover's Vow, but as I said, I almost missed seeing it because it was placed at the very bottom. As I looked for the fashion magazine, it was very difficult because I could not find anything that pertained to a black woman. The only magazine that I found at Target that had to do with black life or culture was the Ebony magazine. It was not what I was looking for. However, it was placed in the beginning of a shelf and really easy for me to find. There were so many different options, however, if I was a white woman. Then I went to look for a birthday card. I went up and down 3 of the aisles they have for cards and did not see any card that had black cartoon figures that was funny. I thought I could have missed it because there was such a variety of cards, but again, I looked, I did not see anything. I kept on seeing cards with white men, women, or men on the front, and this was very discouraging because I really wanted to find something. When I was in the store, I did see many black women shopping. However, I did not see any black employees that I could have asked for help if I needed assistance. In this store, because I did not see any black employees, I believe a white male would have been the manager. Then I went into Toys R Us because I was curious as to see what types of dolls they had to offer since they are a huge toy store. I did find many different options for dolls in even color, style, and cut doll, which they really only had a couple to choose from to begin with, so that was really great seeing that. There was even a Barbie that was a black male. However, there were much more to choose from for white dolls. As I looked around the store, I came across some books. I only found 2 books that had Doc McStuffins and I Am Rosa Parks' book. There was much more books pertaining to a white child, but in some of the Disney books, I saw diversity with both black and white children, but you really had to look, and it wasn't really just across one race. It was really just mixed and diverse. This store, I only saw one black family, and it was pretty busy at the time I did go into the store, so this was a little surprising. I did not see any employees who were black, and I did see a lot of white older women working there, which leads me to believe that the manager would have been a white woman. The next store I went into is ShopRite. This is a store that many people's grocery shop at, and they always have so many different items, so I figured I would try to find a couple of different things here. Again, I went and looked at the makeup first. The aisles definitely were a lot smaller than Target's, but they did offer a couple of different options for darker skinned women. However, it was much more limited, but the brands were present. I then went to look for a birthday card. I looked through every birthday card and again did not see any that would pertain to a black woman. In the same aisle, I also found pantyhose. I actually had no idea they sold this here, so it was really interesting to actually find a color that I believed would work for a darker skinned woman. However, they only had 2 darker colors by a pretty cheap brand, whereas the most popular brand, they did not have any. There were so many different options for someone who is white. And not to just go back to the cards for a second, when I was in ShopRite, there was actually some diverse cards that I was surprised about, but they still didn't have a black card. So that was a little discouraging that they had other races, but not for someone who is black. I then looked for a fashion magazine and did not find one that was all about beauty tips, but I did find one that pertained to hair. This magazine was called Hype Hair. There was much more to choose from that pertained to white women again. At this store, I did see a variety of different people, including black men and women. The girl who checked me out was black, but she was the only employee that I could have gone to if I had a question about makeup or anything like that. The employees that were near the makeup were white, older women. I do know who the manager is in this particular store, but if I could have guessed, it probably would have been a white male. I was not originally going to look for anything in this store, but while I was in Rated, purchasing a card for someone else because it was so last minute, I decided to look for a card featuring a black woman on it. I was looking all through the aisle and actually found only one. This was surprising because I had only found one of the entire aisle, but it was more religious than anything. It was not funny. It was just a really kind of odd to me because it didn't apply to everyone, and it was the only one that I saw in the aisle, so that was really surprising. This store had many older white women employees, which makes me believe the manager is a white woman. While doing an online search for a salon specializing in African American or black hair, it was much more difficult than I had anticipated. I live in Tom River, and there was nothing even close that I could have went to. So many salons that had good reviews or really specialized in hair were over 30 minutes away from me. The closest place that I had found was in Asbury Park, but this specific place specialized in hair braiding. Overall, this was a very discouraging shopping trip. I had to go to more than one store to find everything on my shopping list, and with that, I did not even find everything I was looking for. Putting myself in a black woman's shoes was one of the hardest things I have ever done, and actually takes up more time if you are going into a new store, and it is not even sure if this store will have the product that I am looking for. I was frustrated through the entire time, so I could just imagine how these women feel every day, especially when they are picking up a last-minute item. They have to go to several stores. Even my drive to other stores, I was frustrated that I actually even had to go to another store. If I were going to get my hair done for a date, this would have taken up so much time and would have been so hard, especially having a young child to travel so far with. It is also difficult with actually doing an online search, trying to find a salon to even do my hair the right way and to look good. Overall, I really enjoyed doing this assignment. It really put myself in someone else's shoes where I don't identify with the same characteristics. It really explored a little bit more of what the frustrations are and what it really feels like to be a black woman, and not finding what you need to do in everyday life. Have a great day, everyone.